A warm welcome and välkommen to the first of our totally 3 webinars during the Hanover Fair, presenting case stories and best practices from the exhibiting companies in the Swedish Energy Pavilion. In each webinar, we welcome you to Sweden and present a keynote speaker from our energy ecosystem and 3 company cases. My name is Ninni Löwgren-Tischer, and I'm heading the Department for Market Entry and Business Development at the German-Swedish Chamber of Commerce here in Stockholm. And I'm very happy to lead you through these sessions. Today, we focus on urban project development. How do we build and rebuild our future urban spaces? How do we use energy, transport people and goods, and manage our environment in a functional and sustainable way? We are very happy to welcome you, Ann-Sofi Gaverstedt, CEO of Urban Tech Sweden, as our keynote speaker, sharing some answers to these questions with us and a vision for climate neutral and smart cities. Additionally, I am very happy to present today's 3 pitching companies: D-Lab, represented by Henrik Winberg, Swedish Neutral, represented by Slava Levashov, and Ferroamp, represented by Mats Karlström. A very warm welcome also to you. Before we head into this first session, there's a chat available. I hope you can see it. Please use it for questions and comments. My colleagues from the German-Swedish Chamber of Commerce and representatives from the companies are online and look forward to connect with you and get into dialogue. But now, without further ado, I hand over to you, Ann-Sofi. And you even brought some member companies of Urban Tech Sweden to this webinar. Great. Ann-Sofi, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. And Urban Tech Sweden is a non-for-profit organization, and it was established by the Swedish industry because we wanted to accelerate the green transition in cities, and also, of course, to increase industry's capacities to build and deliver a system for climate neutral cities. And we do represent investors, technology and know-how providers that are willing to curb the challenges linked to urbanization and climate change. Our mission and role is to bridge the gap between investors, projects, and technology providers, and to bring in the ecosystem needed for projects. And our offer is, we do have access to one of the largest portfolio of technology for urban development. And we also have access to knowledge on how to transform cities and reaching the sustainable development goals. And also, very important, we have access to financing for our projects. We will now listen to some of our members on what they could bring into projects. And their stories are based on experience from concrete projects. It could be, for example, from our work on Manhattan, where we do transform skyscrapers into climate smart buildings. It could also be in cities where we do transform energy systems, or it could be for example, in Istanbul, where we create sustainable living. So, Will, I will hand over to you, and you represent one of our member company. And from a financial perspective, could you give us an example of what Urban Tech Sweden or Urbs could bring into projects and how it is integrated with technology and knowledge?
Thank you, Ann-Sofi. I would just like to highlight as well, one of the works that Urban Tech Sweden has done is to bring along the Swedish and Nordic finances and also the risk takers in terms of insurance to allow these solutions to be scaled, implemented in new markets. Thank you.
Mårten, you're from Esma Solution, and we do say that Sweden and the Nordics are known for its holistic system perspective. Could you explain what that means and what the benefits are?
Well, the holistic system approach is to combine competences within governance, technologies, project financing, education, operation, focusing on the actual need of the end user on a project-by-project basis. So my name is Mårten Björk. I'm the chairman of Esma Solutions and also of Elpanelteknik Sweden. So we optimize selection, bundling, and integration of services and technologies Our proven and innovative business models generate organic growth, positive cash flow, and export opportunities for innovators and suppliers. El-panel techniques, maybe 500,000 apartments of emission-free district heating in China is just one example. So long-term cooperation, intellectual property rights are protected through shareholders agreements, which also secure the interest of the end users and the communities. So the benefit of the end user is that you receive access to the latest technologies as integrated into fully financed turnkey solutions, combined with local content, production, assembly, local job creation, and supporting communities in meeting the UN Agenda 2030 targets.
Thank you. And I will now hand over to Jörgen. And you do represent Electricity, which is a citizen initiative in cooperation with companies and academia, with a testbed in a city district of Stockholm, which is called Hammarby Sjöstad. You have developed a co-creation model based on citizen engagement. So what are the benefits working with this model?
So hi there. Thank you, Ann-Sofi. Do you see my picture now?
Yes.
Good. So Electricity is a testbed in a real environment with real people, where innovations, products, and services are tested under real business terms. So our model for citizen engagement, here symbolized as a tree, is based on our experience on how to engage people. How citizen in cooperation with companies, municipalities, and academia are roots can engage in energy, transportation, circular economy, and digitalization. A bottom-up perspective with solutions tested and approved by end users, where innovations has to be profitable. And our goal is to create a climate-neutral Hammarby Sjöstad 2.0 by 2030. The model for citizen engagement is all about education and knowledge as a carrier for behavioral change. And our mission is to spread our projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Jörgen. Helena, you are from Urban Design Architects in Stockholm. So why are the technical buildings and urban energy infrastructure essential parts in the transformation of cities?
Thank you, Ann-Sofi. Yes, my name is Helena Glantz. I'm a founding partner of the Swedish Architectural Office Urban Design. Well, cities and organisms are very complex ecosystems. Their function is to provide people with good places to live, work, meet, and play. The important thing is to give them high-quality spaces for sustainable urban life. In the creation of resilient cities, the clean production and distribution of energy is a vital necessity. We're in the process of leaving an old mindset behind, one where we have focused on single big-scale solutions of each problem. We leave it in favor of a new way of thinking where every part of the city and every citizen acts as both users and producers, as important components of the urban ecosystem. Through innovative architecture, as in this example of a biofuel combined heat and power plant in central Stockholm, we can integrate technical systems with design to enable good, healthy, and resilient urban places.
Thank you. And finally, Charlotte, for your organization Make Trade and Sweden on the Go, international experts and consultancy platform, our audience can reach out for Urban Tech Sweden in 119 countries. Tell us.
Thank you, Ann-Sofi. Yes, we're a proud member of Urban Tech Sweden, and we are basically a digital platform with over 130 plus actually international consultants all over the world. We were created as a vehicle for Swedish business from the beginning to get the expertise they need out there, whether it's finding a customer, finding a supplier, or doing the business contract or the setup. But today we have, with the critical mass of consultants, been very lucky during the COVID times to actually have this local expertise out there is very important when you're going to do business. And we're proud to be able to help sustainable technology out to help their setup out there with our digital platform. Thank you.
So with that, I would like to thank you for listening, and please contact us to see how we could work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ann-Sofi. Will, Mårten, Jörgen, Helena och Charlotte for sharing these insights with us. Really inspiring to hear about your ambition and activities, and also very nice to see how cooperation can solve this really complex question. Now we continue with our pitching sessions with 3 further companies. And first out is Henrik Winberg, Director Sales and Marketing at Dlaboratory. Henrik, what does Dlab do? Tell us more.
Thank you so much for this introduction. My name is Henrik Winberg, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and it's a great pleasure to be here today to share our story. And we started off actually as a cooperation between the university in Lund and one of the leading DSOs in Sweden, with the purpose of being able to detect complex disturbances inside the distribution grid. And today we have been on the market for more than 10 years, providing tangible values to DSOs in this segment. And we are currently on an international journey with a very exciting and strong message, because what we did was that we let an independent company to make a climate impact assessment when using our technology, and with very interesting results. We could see that by applying our technology, it is possible for countries to address challenges that in turn address several of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have customers and partners from US in the west to Indonesia in the east, and we are also right now doing a very exciting journey accomplishing and finalizing an IPO. So we all know that the power sector is facing a lot of challenges. I mean, we can see it's a significant increase in energy usage, but still there is a lot of grid stability issues all over the world. Even in Europe, I would say, you can see that outages obstruct renewable energy to actually reach its final customer. And speaking about distributed energy production, we talk about solar and wind power. And what those technologies does is that they introduces reversed energy flows, and they also introduces losses due to, for instance, reactive power. And the only thing you can do to get this in control, of course, you can do several things, but the first step you need to do is to create a better insight. And this is exactly what we do. We focus on the primary substation inside the distribution grid. And we add a small standard industrial automation hardware that measures currents and voltages in a very high resolution, exceeding whatever equipment you might have in your station today. So we analyze this information, we categorize it, and then we present it in a way that it's easy for you to interpret what has actually happened. And around this hardware that we call the D-box, if we do a quick dive into the product structure, around this hardware, we have developed different applications. And as mentioned, everything started with the analyzing equipment that can reduce like SIDI and SIFI. The next step was to start developing what we call the power quality, because as mentioned, moving forward, you will integrate more sensitive electronics to the grid, and you will also use these distributed energy sources. And all these problems, you need to understand them, and that's what we help out with using this product. The latest member of the family is what we call the D-state, which actually takes condition-based maintenance to a new level, enabling predictive maintenance. And this is based on a one-year research project last year conducted together with a lead customer. And then everything is visualized in a very powerful graphical interface where you can see all this data, real-time, historical, you can see trends, you can see behaviors inside the grid that enables you to take appropriate actions. And what we do is we put everything under one umbrella, one platform that guides our user community from the measurement to the concrete action. And this also, of course, supports the transition to become much more data-driven in your decision making. And what are the benefits by using our technology? Well, there are several different benefits. Here are a few different examples: improve power quality, reduce outages, support addition of green power to the grid, working more proactively, optimize grid operation, etc. But the value differs, and we would be very happy to open up this discussion to talk more about what value we can bring to your grid. So please don't hesitate to contact us. We have seen that we bring value to any DSO independently of what kind of size, from Stadtwerke to nationwide provider. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henrik. Very inspiring to see. And also, of course, nice that you already invite to a further dialogue. Perfect. Next one out is Slava Levakov. You are Chief Sales Officer at Swedish Neutral. Slava, would you mind telling us a bit more about Swedish Neutral?
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Slava Levashov, and that's right, I'm the Chief Sales Officer of Swedish Neutral. Our company develops and produces protection systems for high voltage power grids. So based in Stockholm, our experienced team helps utilities and industries all across the world to deliver safe and uninterrupted power to customers and processes. So I would like to explain how our power line protection system called the ground fault neutralizer, or the GFN as we like to call it, can benefit you or anyone who actually maintains a high voltage grid. The GFN can substantially improve the reliability of your grid, as well as allowing you to achieve next level safety of network assets. So our system can do that in two ways. Firstly, the GFN can detect high impedance faults which were previously undetectable, not possible to detect, which is the first benchmark protection needs to meet. The logic behind that is very simple. If protection can't detect, it can't protect. So secondly, the GFN can neutralize the fault current ultra fast enough to prevent fire to start under worst conditions, which we could see, for example, in Australia. So if you maintain overhead grid, the benefits of GFN implementation are very obvious. However, what are the benefits if you have pure cable network like city electric power supply or mixed cable overhead grids? The GFN is based on Peterson coil, invented in Germany in 1917, and this concept is widely used in Germany and other European grids with many benefits. However, the Peterson coil, which is also called the arc suppression coil, does not work in the cable networks, meaning it does not suppress the arc in a single phase fault. And this means that single phase fault in the cable will always lead to short circuit, and that will eventually end up in an outage. The GFN overcomes that issue and allows for continuous separation without interruption and outages by compensating the fault current down to practically zero, meaning the capacitive current and the residual current of the fault current. So in conclusion, the ground fault neutralizer will substantially improve both reliability and safety of any power grid. Swedish Neutral, established in 1987, is market leading in next generation air fault protection and has been active in Germany and a number of international markets for decades. Thank you for listening, and contact me for more information.
Thank you so much, Slava, for this presentation. Very inspiring. And last but not least, Ferroamp, Mats Karlström. You are a business developer at Ferroamp. What is your product or solution?
Thank you. We're a Swedish company. We have developed power electronics and system software to allow the big wave of production locally and energy storage and EV charging into a new level. So we are surfing basically on the humongous wave the energy transition is creating right now. The reason for taking care of power behind the meter is that we are changing the way we use energy, not only or in the grid, but also behind the meter, because every facility behind the meter is connected to the grid. That makes it so important to start from the bottom up, because changing the grid will take a lot of time and a lot of money. By doing it behind the meter, taking care of power balance, we will make sure that we are prepared as we change the user patterns using PV production, EV charging, and smart control. So we have to change in every facility. We have to flatten the curve, so to say. We have to make sure that our future is taken care of with new technology. It should still be easy to live a life behind the meter. The smart city needs smart facilities. We make it possible because we have to transition from the traditional way of implementing converters everywhere in our facilities. All the new technology, the big power technologies, they use their own converters. When you transfer energy between these different sources, you create losses. If we look further down the road, we also have a lot of new loads like LED lights and the modern fans and pumps. They are also using DC current, but because we use everything on AC without coordination, it's very difficult to coordinate. We create losses and we make it complicated. Our solution is using a local DC grid instead. High voltage makes less current, makes less losses. So by combining PV, energy storage, and EV charging to a greater extent using high voltage DC, you improve a lot on the losses, on efficiency. You also make it possible to run power a little bit further than you've done previously with AC. And as we move into the modern era, the modern time, we can also put a lot of those loads on the DC grid as we move on, making it possible to increase redundancy and efficiency. So by looking at the grid point with this new technology, we can also make it easier to control and modify the system as the grid changes. We can utilize new business models using this technology. So we develop the black boxes on this screen. We develop it in such a way so we can easily adopt it to any facility in the world. We have a grid connection, and we also have an internet connection, making it possible to connect to supervisory control systems, creating inclusion into balance, reserve programs, and so on. Every facility should be a resource in the grid instead of a load point. We can handle any facility, small or big. We also have a unique opportunity to interconnect between buildings to create small DC microgrids, a unique technology that can change the way that we use and install PV, energy storage, and load and charging infrastructure. One example is the container that we have developed together with Vattenfall. It's a container full of batteries, but it also includes everything you need to charge electric vehicles fast and efficient. With just a small grid connection up in the Arctic test zones in the Swedish northern area, we can still make sure that the batteries are fully charged as they come back for a lunch or coffee break by having everything stored as needed in the container. So think system impact when you install your next PV system, not only product function. Add a little bit of power flexibility in your thought pattern during planning phase. The power control you add to the system, add renewable sustainability as well. Let's step into the PV Solar 2.0 and make the system better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mats, for these insights. We are approaching the end of our session. If you're curious to learn more about Urban Tech Sweden or our pitching companies, you're cordially invited to join us in a video chat right after this webinar. As you could see, we also opened up a Teams meeting, and my colleagues and the representatives from the companies are available for discussion with you. So more than welcome. And what happens next? Tomorrow at the same time, we will look into the area of smart cities. But before that, don't miss our webinar in the official conference program today at 12:30 on fossil-free heavy and public transports, presenting the Pathways Coalition and a project to electrify Jakarta's public transport. And you're also invited to join another live stream later today at 1:30, a guided tour of our virtual pavilion. See you there. Thank you very much. And tack.